Alright, what's going on? I'm Connor Hanna. I'm a multi-instrumentalist teacher, composer, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to practice scales and thirds on the mandolin. We're going to start with scales and thirds in 2 octaves in the key of G major, because that's the easiest and most resonant key on the mandolin. So the trick here is to go up a third and down a second, up a third, 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 down a second. And then on the descending, it's down a third, up a second, down a third, up a second, down a third, up a second, down a third. Alright, and the cool thing is that we could do that in different combinations. We can do 1 octave on the G string, and so now I'm going to show you scales and thirds in 1 octave on 1 string. And the trick here is we're going to shift on the second finger. I'm going to show you what I mean. So up a third, down a second, up a third, down a second. We're shift on the second, up a third with just the second finger, down a third, down a second, up a third. Okay, and then when we're way up here, we can actually stretch a major third with our ring finger and pinky. Shift down on the second. And then we could do that on all the different strings. We could even do that on the D string. And on the E string. And then here, when we're past like the 12th fret, we can fit a major third between our third finger and pinky. Okay, so the next one is going to be G major 2 octave just on 2 strings. So for that first one, we used all 4 strings to do 2 octave. Now we're going to do 2 octave only on 2 strings, and we're going to shift, and we're going to shift on the second finger. And then you could shift in all sorts of different places. There's a bunch of different combinations, and it's good to practice all the different combinations. Okay, so there I shifted into third position on the G string. So now I'm going to shift on the D string. Okay, so it's good to practice all the different possible combinations. Okay, so G major 2 octave 2 string. Okay, so the next one is going to be scales and thirds in 3 octaves. That's going to be the most difficult. And then so scales and thirds in 3 octaves. So we'll start with 2 octaves. Okay, here's where we come to the tricky part. So shift on the second finger, up to third position, fifth position, and then when we're up here, we can fit the major third between our fourth finger and pinky. Oop, I messed that up. Okay, and then shifting in different places, different combinations. So now we're going to shift on the second string. D string. Okay, so it's good to practice it in all those different combinations. Okay, so the next key to work on is going to be A major, because that's the next easiest and the next most resonant. So scales and thirds in A major. Scales in thirds and 1 octave on 1 string in A major. And you have just barely enough room to do that. This is the highest right here. Something like that. And it's cool to experiment with the sonorities of the higher registers of the mandolin too. You get a lot of cool sounds. So practicing it with different shifts, different rhythms, and memorizing the sound and kind of getting a feel for it and kind of letting your fingers kind of just do kind of just like feel it out, get a real feel for it. So I like to practice first very meticulously and then recklessly. So practice meticulously and then recklessly. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. So it's good to do the meticulous practice and the reckless practice. Okay, and then the next key to work on is going to be B flat major. So start G major, A major, then B flat major. And yeah, cool.